Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Indian Racing League. This is Division 1, as we usually race on Saturdays, and we are in round 2 at a circuit which the race named after is just very long to pronounce, so we'll just call it Imola. And joining me in the comms box is someone who was my fourth choice co-commentator this evening after the previous three declined to grace us with their presence. It's Suraj in the comms box. Suraj, it's been a while. How are you doing? And tell us about your experiences as a league racer last season since you joined us full time for after a while.
Thank you so much for that gracious introduction, Malav. Fourth, but nonetheless the best of the lot.
Absolutely.
And well, it is good. I think good to be back around the racing situations. I think I've been off for a while, and making good use of the time. Obviously, the last season was quite a bit long season. And obviously me coming after a 1.5 year of hiatus, it was all about pushing, and putting it all the efforts that you can. So yeah, it was fun. Learned a lot of good things. Most importantly, made some new friends. And talking about them, they are in Division 1. Harsh, Pratham, Shooter. So excited to see how they fare out. It's a second race. The first race obviously was a bit chaotic, as what I could see from the stream. But it's I think right now it's D2 guys who I'll be rooting out for. But nonetheless, let's not count out the likes of Redson, Caesar, and Vifix. I don't know why I say Caesar. I mean he seems promising, but yeah, I mean not so much luck going on his way. But I am sure he would be wanting to have a good race wins and solid race wins under his belt. Talking about solid race wins, I see Sume. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is his comeback race after quite some time, Malav.
Yeah, he's been out of action for a while, Sumer, and he's here in a reserve capacity. So let's see how he fares on, and has had decent pace. He had that titanic battle with VFX way back in season 5, where he ultimately did
Right.
win the driver's title. And I think, as a commentator, that was one of the most entertaining season to watch, if I'm being honest here. So Sumer is in the McLaren. Hirsch is in the McLaren. Sumer is in the Alpine. He's reserving for a driver which I'm not sure who it is. I think it might be Chips, his teammate, because Chips is in the Alpine. I'm not sure who's in the other Alpine. But things have changed, Suraj, since last season. As you said, a few drivers being promoted to Division 1, Hirsch being one of them. Hirsch, of course, won the Division 2 title last season in season 10. And then there is uh, Shooter, there's Pratham, and a few other drivers. Wicket Vicky as well, who was
Yeah.
also consistently battling for the top positions. So
And
interesting to
talking
see
about
how
the
they
top
fare.
positions, Shooter was one of them, and he was on a good lap, but he somehow just invalidated it at the sector 3. I mean, the chicane in the sector 3. So, uh, not a good start for Shooter in the Williams.
Yep, and Redstone has put a marker of a 114.0. So
I know what is
already,
this guy eating? What is this
yeah,
guy breathing? He's just gaining lap time season after season. So yeah, I think it is time to visit Norway and see if there's something in the Norway air that has changed our own Richard Dove, who has shown immaculate pace over the seasons.
yeah, it's almost a very significant and a very stark difference in his pace since he has moved to Norway,
Eva.
Redstone. I remember when we were racing him in Division 2, he was the one
Right.
who was quick, but he occasionally used to spin at a safety car restart. and somehow or the other he used to kind of mess up his races of or chances of a good finishing position. But this time around, and in fact the last 2 seasons, he has been very very dominant in Division One, and
Very
I really hope
indeed.
that a few other drivers can up their game to challenge him. Currently spectating Charles Leclerc in the Haas car about to finish his lap. On the soft tires, he goes P4 ahead of Sonic Hawk, and just 2 tenths between the two of them. So Harsh with a 115.0 is a full second behind Redstone.
It's a decent, yeah,
V6's lap
it's a decent
time
time.
is, I don't think, is really representative. Shooter has invalidated second lap running, so I'm not sure what's causing this issue for Shooter, who Suraj, if you remember, had I think he got the most number of poles when he was in Division 2 last season. So
That's right.
he's a very good qualifier. Obviously, has very very good race pace as well. But in qualifying, especially, he was almost impossible to beat. So over a one
Yeah,
lap pace. As
both the
Abhishek
mode
has popped
P1,
up,
P2. Yeah,
yeah, P2 for Abhishek, still 7 seconds, 7 tenths rather,
but then the but
behind.
P2, P3, P4, Abhishek's Basil, Vifix all have done on medium set of tires, and Redstone has done it on softs.
Yeah, so Redstone kind of showing his hand early, but I'm very sure he has a couple of tenths up his sleeve, even though his first run was on those soft tires. And Suraj, you didn't race yesterday, but this is a bone dry Imola track right now, as opposed to the very wet conditions last evening.
Yeah,
It was a wet qualifying and a wet race. I mean, yes, there was a bit of a rain at the start of the race, and then drivers quickly pitted on to the inters. Let's try to pick someone who's on a hot lap. Shooter has invalidated again. I think now he's doing it on purpose. I'm pretty sure he's doing a few race runs or something like that, and he just doesn't want to put in a lap time because you can't really invalidate a driver of Shooter's caliber. I don't think he'll invalidate three
yeah,
lap
yeah.
times
He
in a row,
is
and
starting
he's
a lap on 35% battery, so pretty sure. Yeah, and on a 3 lap old tire, so he's doing it. Basil is was finishing a lap, but Wicket Wiki. He's the guy on medium tires, about to finish his lap. Final few corners, the last corner takes it extremely smooth, using all the ounce of battery, and he goes back. Not goes back, goes
that
into the
was
pits.
an anticlimax
Ah,
and a half. I thought we will go on board with Noble Carter, who's also one of the people who was promoted from Division 2.
right.
But he invalidated the start of his lap. He just extended the final corner, ran out of road, and that means his lap time was invalidated. So even though he can go around this circuit for a full, I'm not sure how long the circuit is, but it's not really gonna count. Let's try
Yeah,
to pick someone who's starting a lap,
it's Harsh.
maybe.
It's Harsh.
Okay,
Vifix
so Harsh
is
is,
ahead
yeah.
in
So
the
let's
lap
go on board with him. Suraj, you can take us through this full lap on board
of Vifix.
from Harsh.
Harsh, alright then.
Harsh.
Still struggling with the names, but I think I'll just try to manage it. Harsh, extremely quick, extremely smooth, very smooth on the inputs, this guy, and now is the has to nail the apex, and early on the traction does he take. Harsh 1298. Now extremely fast section coming up. He tries to be a little bit cautious. I'm sure he has a tenth or two that he could have tried to do it, and now a technical right-hander needs to ride the curves well. He does. He tries to avoid a bit, but the chicane, it's a place where you can win and gain a lot of time, but he doesn't take it aggressively. He has a bit of traction loss at the exit. Not much of a clean lap, I must say, from Harsh. But I'm sure if he nails it, he has at least 3 to 4 tenths in that lap. But let's see where he does put him. He is gaining and has gained marginally by 2 tenths. And so yeah, amongst all of that, P2, P3, P4, all within hundreds, 400ths of the second. Uh, and now, if you wish, Malav, our champion, next champion, Natsume is starting his hot lap. Let's see if he is trying to, or if he will get back on the top leaderboard.
Yeah,
And
let's see how his lap pans out. I think Jashnu ahead of him is in sector one, but that lap time from Hers, he gained 2 tenths from it, but I think he lost a lot of time at the chicane that unsettled his car to some extent. And Raman is in the chat. So that's to let you know, Raman was one of the people who was among my top three choices, but he declined to join me in the commentary box, which is why we have you, his teammate from last season. Any word about Raman? So that you've raced with him alongside him for the full season last time. So
I mean,
how was
yeah,
that
he's a
like?
guy. He has two sides of things. And Sume invalidates. He was attacking left and center, but yeah, invalidates. Well, about Ramin, I mean, he's a guy of two sides. He is extremely quick for sure. I think me and him had similar pace for most of the season, but it was those crucial races where he was expected to win, and for some reason some things or some other thing used to happen. A lot of bad luck, but I wish him all the good luck this season, and I really wish that he wins. Unfortunately, I couldn't be his teammate again. He was so wanting to be again, but yeah, I think my money, my wishes, and my cheers are for Ramin this season. So yeah, Ramin, go for it. It's gonna be a quite a battle between him, Jin, and Shrikant, I must say. But yeah, it's nonetheless it's gonna be a fantastic one, and I really hope Ramin comes out on top.
Let's see. It's just 2 races in, and the McLarens are looking strong. So Jin and Smith in that McLaren outfit as Musiza goes P2 with a 114.4, splits the Mercedes, but I think Abhishek's is on a lap
It's
right. So
just
Redstone did
he's a tenth
come
up.
out. Yeah, Redstone is at sorry, Abhishek is at 10th up on his time. Redstone was on the track after putting in that initial marker of a 14.0, but he's come back in. So I'm not sure what went on there. Was not really on board with him or spectating him. As Raman has a
Oh,
question
Abhishek is
for
out of
you.
battery, almost out of battery by sector 3. I'm not sure why will that be. Imola is doesn't seem to be a track which eats a lot of battery, at least in the quali. But oh,
I
he
think he
has.
might have not. That's not the best of the entries through the first.
Oh,
Oh, he's
no, he
completely
was
messed it up.
improving. He was
And
improving.
that the car has glitched back into the pits. So Abhishek, I think I'm not sure how good his sector two was. I didn't really catch that, but it's likely he might have beaten Caesar there to get that 1-2 back. VFix is on a lap, and I think he has
And
just
that's gonna
started
be the
his.
final run. I don't think he will be able to make another run 5 minutes into the session.
Yeah, I think this might be VFix's final run as he crosses Redstone, who has also come out of the pits. So people are not really waiting Suraj until the exact last moment to put in their final lap times. I'm not sure how much the track actually grips up in qualifying.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if it's realistic to that extent, but VFix is on the lap, and we'll see how his second sector turns out.
He is attacking very smooth as this guy was as always, but he is attacking now. He's giving it everything as what he could. He is 6 lengths up. That might not be enough. It's a purple sector 2 and it is purple sector 2. Not really. I think it's Reston is still faster, quicker, but I think final few corners and we'll see if he is able to displace Reston from P1, who is now starting his outlap, and now FX, come on, it is
Oh my
13.8.
god!
Where did that come from? And now Redstone knows what he needs to do. Final few corners, and let's ride with Redstone and see Malav if he will he will challenge Vifix for P1 and nobody else apart from Basil who's on an outlap. But yeah, as we speak, Redstone has started his final run. Needs to nail the turn one as always. Turn one, the most important corner in almost every track. It sets the momentum and he rides on the curve a bit. So Reston has a scuffy first sector, I must say, a bit. But yeah, he has a lot of time or track left to gain. But he is down. He's down by 4 tenths. Mala,
This is
so
not
I
looking
think
good.
that
This is not a good
is.
start. He has
And
backed
he has
out,
backed out. He
and he
has
might go
backed
for
out.
another run. So at the first
Right.
couple of turns itself, it all went wrong for him.
Yeah.
Put a tire on the grass as well, and that's not a good sign. So he still has time. I think he might have fuel as well to go for another run. As Racing Gupta says hello, hello Gupta ji, and
Hello, Joit.
you really haven't answered Raman's question either, Suraj. So you might want to get onto that while we wait for Redstone to
I have not seen
start
what his
his
question
lap
was, but yeah, I'll
again.
just go and see.
Yeah. So his question is, when are you hosting the next house party? And because Gupta is here as well, there's a very famous picture of Gupta which sometimes does the round as
Oh,
Redstone is in the
Redstone is
pits.
going inside the
And
pits.
I don't
He.
think he has enough time, does he? No, I don't think he does. So that's qualifying over for Redstone, while second place is still not a bad place to start at Imola.
Yeah.
But unless the Mercedes team works double time, Redstone is not going to be on pole. Neither Mercedes is going to be on pole unless Abhishek has something to say about it. Remember, Abhishek, we should not really discount him.
We
He's
should
a
never.
very quick driver,
Indeed.
and he could be throwing his hat in the ring as far as the fight for pole position is concerned. And of course, Caesar is 6 tenths is the gap between him and VFix, and if he can hook up a lap, maybe he's in the contention as well. A lot of drivers yet to. Sumer seems to be on a lap, as I saw someone probably spinning. I'm not sure, but Sumer is on a lap, and oh, Ethan has disconnected. I hope he can join back soon, and he has a few spare invites. Suraj, if you can send him an invite to Ethan.
To
Yeah,
Ethan.
Ethan.
I'll
Yeah, Ethan
see.
is just disconnected. So, and Redstone has retired from the session in the pits, so that is his qualifying over. And there's a car ahead of Sumer who does get out of the way, but I'm not sure if at all that impeded him. It surely was a distraction. I'm not really sure of the impeding of it. And Raman, we really.
So I think who's starting the lap first? I think it is Abhishek who's one of the first guy to start this final run.
Oh, this is not going well. There was who was that? Was that Jishnu? No, I think yeah, it was Shooter who has invalidated. I mean, who has impeded Sumer, who goes P3 with a 114.3.
Oh,
VFix on
welcome
an
back to the
outlap
action, Sumaya.
again, and he's gonna make it in time. So VFix might just go even faster.
Yeah, and Abhishek is the first guy who is already starting his final run, and let's have an eye on him as well. He is a quick driver, and there must be a bunch of slower cars ahead. But yeah, I think has a bit of moment in the sector one. But he's up. He's up by almost a tenth and half. But yeah, he needs at least 7-8 tenths to be near the territory of Ifix and Redstone.
And Caesar is just
But
about matching his time. What about Basil? Basil is also in the sector one, is coming up to the split. He's
half a
half a
tenth up.
tenth
Yeah.
quicker. And what about Wicket Wiki? He is 1.5 tenths up. So everyone seems to be improving right now. What about VFix? VFX is down on his time, so VFX is not going to improve. And it's up to. Oh, by the way, Noble Carter and Jishnu have just popped up into P3 and P4. And let's go back to Abhishek, who has
He was.
invalidated his lap time.
Oh no, was up by 5 tenths. That was a good lap by
So has
Abhishek.
Caesar, by the way. Caesar is
Oh,
invalidated
what's
as well.
happening?
And so has Sumer. What is happening with everyone?
Oh man,
Shooter
so
might just
I.
go faster. He's gone in P7.
Yeah, amongst
Is
that, Noble Carter in P3. That's a lap. 14.2, just 2 tenths off. So that's a quick lap by Noble
Yeah, and
Carter.
Baz is gonna improve. It seems like so. Baz might just be in top five at this rate. He goes across the line. Oh no, that's
P8.
not really a great third sector. He lost a few tenths there. He's gonna still improve his position by one place. It's P8 for Baz. Is Pratham up to anything? No, in fact, he's coming back in the pits. So that's the end of Kali Suraj. In a surprise, I would say it's a surprise nowadays when Redstone doesn't get pole. But VFix seems to have the pace this weekend. He takes the pole position, and then Redstone joins him on the front row, followed by Noble Carter, which is a very welcome surprise, and Jishnu
The shocker
in
of
on the second row.
the pack, Abhishek's in P10.
Yeah, he
That's
was
a
improving by
long way
quite a bit,
back.
but unfortunately, it
He
didn't
should
really
have
turn
been
out for
in
him.
P3, P4 at least. I mean, that's what his lap time would have put him. So yeah, it's gonna be work cut out for him and Abhishek and Reston. I think from the constructor standpoint, these guys are the benchmark to beat. But I think
Yep,
it's
and the
gonna
Red
be
Bulls
some
looking
time,
good with P1 and P3 with VFX and Noble
right?
and Abhishek's. So the first lap time he set was a 14:7 on the mediums, and that was his fastest lap time. So
Correct.
not sure how he didn't improve. He probably made a
I
couple of
mean,
mistakes
it's
we
gonna
saw
be
on
a
the
dry
last
race,
run.
so I think there is not plenty of strategy that can come handy to these guys. So yeah,
Well, it's overcast right now, Suraj. So I'm not sure if it's gonna stay overcast throughout or is there any. But I'm assuming you
it's
have
gonna
seen
be
the weather.
sunny. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a dry race, but gray clouds do cover the most of the sky. So let's see. We don't have a formation lap. I think that is still glitched.
Is
So
it? I'm not so sure. I think you should just
I
get
mean, we haven't
our.
tried this in a while, so
Yeah,
it
but
might
formation
have
lab
been
is
resolved.
fun. Yeah, it gives a feeling. You're setting up. We want the experience of a Formula One racing. As much as we could. So
Yeah,
I
I
really, really
agree with
wish.
you. But if
Yeah,
it messes up the lobby and you spend so much
I
time
know.
setting up the grid again, that's just not worth it. But
And
five lights on the grid and lights are out. We are underway. And VFix does make a decent start, but behind him, look at Jishnu. What a great start from Jishnu. As Restaurant and VFix are going to go side by side. Restaurant has taken the lead of the race, and Jishnu and VFix might have to battle out for second position. Well, they actually don't, and
oh,
there's
Alpine and
Alpine of
the
Chips, was it?
Marquiser. No, it was the Alpine of I think it is Natsume. It was Natsume and Caesar.
Oh,
Caesar made
Caesar
a
is in
very
last
good
place,
start.
and Abhishek has made a couple of places already in P8. Basil has gone down a place. He started in P8, so he's gone down a place, and then I think it's Abhishek and Wicket Wiki going side by side. Wicket Wiki pushed out of the track, and let's see if Baz can actually make any inroads. As I see a lot of cars fighting for a position behind them, and up ahead it seems like Redstone. He didn't get the pole, Suraj, but he has taken the lead of the
Taken
race
the lead.
as Wicket Wiki gets
Oh,
completely spun around there. And Caesar overtakes him, so Caesar no longer the person who's last on the track as Sonic Hawk and Baz seem to. It's all kicking off here. And I think for now it is Baz in P11. So Baz is going backwards in this race. Let's have a look at what tires people are using. And there you go, Baz in the pit. So he was clearly struggling. Ethan is the only one who's on the softs along with Pratham. And up ahead, it seems like that the top four and top five, or top six rather, are settling into rhythm. Redstone already a second ahead of VFX Suraj.
and that's some pace. And I think in the at the restart, Caesar, I think he made some moves, not moves. I would say like he had a good start. He was taking the right side of the line into the turn one, the outside one, and I think over there were a lot of commotion, and he just was pushed ahead, and Natsume could do nothing but just to go and collect him out. So I think it's something for the stewards. I am saying, which I am glad that we are not the stewards for the appeal we are. So if Caesar brings that into appeal, I am pretty sure we'll serve him well. But I think unfortunate for him, and he is up to P13, so not too far away. I would say. I think. There's no visible 5-10 seconds gap, but Redstone 117.3.
Yeah, but
That's
VFix is
like
under
almost
attack.
7 tenths.
VFix is under attack from Jishnu. Jishnu has pulled out from the slipstream and is ahead going into turn 1. That's a good move by Jishnu up into P2. And, well, VFX not the start or not the first few laps he would have hoped for after getting a pole position.
Look at Chip's schema. Look at Chip's schema. Sonic and Charles. All very close. And Chips looks like he just wants to get inside that car of Sonic. But they're glued. And I think Charles had a look, but decided not to make a move on Chips. But then these three cars are very close, so we should keep an eye on them. And keep an eye on Abhishek, who is just 3 tenths behind Harsh, who is now out of DRS of Sume. So and comes back again as I say that. So,
Yeah, so it's a bit
uh,
weird because Harsh was within 3 tenths of Sumer the last lap, but seems
yeah,
like he probably might have made a mistake or Sumer has just upped his pace. But forget about Sumer, Harsh is under attack from Abhishek, and if
Abhishek
he's not careful on the on the main straight, Abhishek might just get
is
him.
back
The
again.
DRS
He's
has been
back
enabled.
again in the DRS. So I think he's tactically deploying the battery and he should have the DRS and he has to.
Let's see if the top two are gonna exchange positions again as VFX does come out ahead of Jishnu and Abhishek
Makes
is
a
gonna
move
overtake.
and
Oh, there's a huge collision
almost
there. Abhishek is spun around. He might just recover
Abhishek's
in time to be filling in behind Ethan, but that didn't
I
go
think
according to plan.
Abhishek's turned it too early. I think Harsh had the inside line and Abhishek thought that he was a car ahead, completely ahead. But I think it is going to be a restart again for Abhishek. I hope there is no damage, no underflow damage for Abhishek. But yeah, look at Charles, Chip Schema, and Sonic. These three cars are very close, and for some reason, my spectator cam is very fuzzy. I'm not sure if that's the case with your end. But
No,
yeah,
it seems fine. It seems all right to me. But yeah, this is a good midfield battle or battle for the points between Chips, Sonic, and Shal. Caesar is yet to
and watch
catch
out for
them.
Ethan. Watch
And
out for
yeah,
Ethan,
Ethan
who
on
is
those soft tires will be still quite grippy. And because Hurst does not have DRS, it should be a simple pass. But up ahead, I think Somer is gonna get a move on, and he's now gonna overtake. And he has overtaken Noble Garter. Noble Garter already blinking, so he has almost run out of DRS, and Ethan has completed the overtake on Hurst. As we have our first penalty, that's Pratham for speeding in the pit lane, and he has retired
has
in the pit
retired in the
lane.
pit lane.
So,
I hope it's not a safety car. It happened yesterday. I'm
oh,
not
did
sure
it?
why will that happen.
No,
Yeah,
I
it
think that
happened
was a
safety.
car at the end of. The I think you're referring to
Le-
someone who had just exited the pit lane in the wet conditions. I think they probably
Okay.
did crash out and they didn't retire manually in the pits. At least that's how I thought it went down. These two, VFX and Jishnu, still battling, and they're losing about half a second a lap to Redstone in the process. So I'm not sure what the strategy is here, but Redstone is just seems to be running away with this race, at least in the initial stages. Of course, 27 laps to go after this one, so anything could happen. There's always a chance of a safety car. Jishnu had a tank slapper coming out of the final corner and is a bit too far back. 6 tenths is a gap, but if he has a different setup to that of VFix, he can make up that distance. But I don't think he's gonna do that this time around, is he? No, I
Yeah.
think he's gonna stay
And
behind.
look at this battle. Sonic, Chipsky, and Charles Leclerc. They are just there. And Sonic is out of battery. You can see his light blinking. So I think Chips and Charles Leclerc would fancy a move on him as soon as possible. And talking about a move, Noble is hasn't fallen back from Natsume. He's just there, hanging there in 4 tenths and 5 tenths. And Ethan has joined the party as well. So and Harsh. So for P4, we have a four car battle, and Jishnu is just 2 tenths behind Vivek. So he needs to manage his battery well now, because surely on the main straight he can make a move.
I think if he can keep within that distance of 4 times, see again the distance just goes up. So I think VFix keeps getting good traction out of that chicane, which enables him to create that gap to Jishnu. But this time Jishnu is closer than he was on the last lap, and he doesn't have the tank slapper which he got on the last
Yeah.
lap. The gap is still 5 seconds, and now it will
Anything,
decrease.
anything around 7 tenths, you will be able to gain on the main straight. So Jishnu now tries to make a move, and he has a look, but
Yeah, I think he was a bit taken aback by the movement of VFX there. He might have probably felt it was a bit late. He backed out of that one as Charles Leclerc finally going for the move on Chips. And I hope and Charles Leclerc has to go into the
Chips.
gravel. He loses a lot of time to Chips and
The
he
turn
won't be
one
happy about
battles,
that.
the turn one battles today are not faring well, not faring well at all.
Well, it's a tricky turn one, is what I would say. It's not a heavy braking zone, and
Yeah,
it's very difficult to go side by side through that section of the track. So unless you are clearly ahead of the car you're battling, I think a sensible driver might want to pull out, as
and
Sumer has just spun around at Aqua
after
Minerale.
getting a three
And
second
Ethan, I don't
penalty.
know what happened to Noble Garda because he lost a place to Ethan. I think he might have just been surprised by that movement of Somer. And as Raman says that Division 2 raced better in the rain than Division 1 drivers are doing in the dry conditions. I'm not entirely sure of that because I saw a lot of incidents
I
there.
mean, yeah,
As
I mean, they did. I mean, there is certain driver, certain Mercedes driver who chose not to pit in the first lap, and but yeah, I think the way he made a comeback was very, 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 very nice. But Noble Carter just 2 tenths behind Ethan. I mean, yeah, I mean,
And somewhere
uh,
I think Jishnu has made a mistake because he's now 3.5 seconds almost behind VFX. He was glued to his gearbox for
yeah,
the better part of his race, and now he has fallen behind. So I don't think VFX has just upped his pace to that extent. I think it is Jishnu who might have made a mistake, and well, is still 1.5 seconds ahead of Ethan. Now he's on the soft tires. You are a Ethan, Suraj.
yeah.
Do you think he would be struggling now versus the mediums, or do you think they still have some relative performance left?
I
Those
mean,
red mark soft tires.
yeah, I think I haven't raced here, so wouldn't know about the tire wear. But typically, I think it has been a one-stop strategy. So I think the soft to medium is the way to go, and the tires do hold up. Uh, but yeah, I think it should be fine. I think, but yeah, he would be looking to pit in next couple of laps. I don't see it like going beyond 9 laps. But yeah, I think Sume, I'm not sure what has happened to him right now, but he was very close to Sonic Hawk, but now he is outside of his DRS. So I think Chips should make a move on Sume. I hope there is no damage on Sume's car, that Alpine. But yeah, Sume was having a fantastic race, and something happened.
Yeah, so he
A
spun
mistake.
at that uphill right-hander
Yeah, a mistake
in
happened,
sector two.
either his or by somebody else. But yeah, he is down to P10. And the battles for P4. P4 battle is always on in this race. The 9 laps in, somebody or others. So there are like 4 cars. So yeah, watch out for them. Malav, Ethan Noble, Harsh, and Abhishek. Abhishek would be raring to make a move on these guys as soon as possible. Uh,
Yeah, and something interesting, or rather, I'm curious about Caesar's pace because I had hoped that by now he would have caught up. He had shown promising pace in qualifying, so I had hoped that the 3.5 second gap he had to the next group of cars would have reduced by now, but that's not happening. And Caesar in clean air is not able to catch up to the drivers who ahead of him are kind of battling for position.
he's slow. That's it.
Well,
But
that's one
no,
way
I
to
think,
say it. Here's Noble Carter, by the way, who is by no means slow, and without even using battery, he's gonna fly past Ethan for P4, and I think that is one sign, if any, for Ethan to
that
maybe
is,
pit for a set of
yeah.
hard tires. I don't think the mediums would last, but at the
And
same time,
look at the hush on Ethan. Now he's trying to make take a look, but no, he doesn't. I really hope Caesar has no side pod damage. I mean, yeah, I think the way it happened, it was almost a head-on collision. So yeah, I hope there's no visible damage on the rear wing or on the front wing for sure. But yeah,
yep.
P4 battle is
So
on.
yeah, the battle for P4 continues as Redstone extends his gap up ahead to 4.3 seconds.
And Sume has
And
overtaken Chipsky amongst all that.
yeah,
I
yeah, so
think
Sumer
so.
did overtake Chips on the last lap. So I think Alpines are kind of managing their pace right now. They are scoring
They are
three
racing
points from
each
this
other.
race. But of course, Sumer's points won't count as something has happened. I think it is Shooter who has spun. Yes, he has.
Yes, he
And
has.
he might have lost his wing. No, he has his front wing
It's intact.
intact, and I don't see any damage to the end plate either. So, well, that just puts him further away from the points. Very unfortunate for Shooter in turn one in last race as well, as Abhishek tries to go for a move on Hirsch and does not really work out for him. But what a brilliant midfield battle, Suraj, as you called it. For P4, there's a four-car battle. And let's see if Sumer and Chips are gonna go side by side again. No, it does not happen. But Alpines seem to be very comparable
at this
on
point, but
pace.
yeah, and Charles behind them, Charles. So Sume, Chips, and Charles. I think the battle for P9. So P4 and P9 is always on for some reason. So yeah, and Ethan. Now we have to watch out for Ethan. I mean, if he is able to take couple of laps more, and if medium guys are taking into lap 17, lap 18, which I'm guessing they would want to, these guys can put on a fresh set of softs and can go till the end of the race.
Well, there's something which people have asked for in the comment section, so I'm just gonna oblige. And Suraj, just give me a second.
Right.
Yeah, that's the audio clip people wanted off shooter. And you are Lethan right on cue. Suraj is in the pits. So is Abhishek from a set of mediums to a set of hards. So
And so
he
was
has
Shooter.
pitted.
They have gone on
And yeah,
hard
Shooter has
tires.
pitted as well. But he is. And there you go, the Alpines switching positions again. So much so that Charles Leclerc has caught up to them, but he then rides the curb a bit too much than he would have wanted. And well, that doesn't really help his chances. But the Alpines, I don't think there are any team orders over here. Just racing for fun, and it's entertaining to watch.
They are, yeah. And who knows? I mean, by doing that, they might catch up to Sonic. So 7/10 of the leading pack, not the leading pack, but the leading midfield pack. But yeah, I think these guys should aim for P4, P5. I mean, they have a good chance of doing so.
Yeah,
Considering
and Somer
Sume
is
has
having constant problems with that right-hander. He almost lost his car once again, and that brings Leclerc into the equation. And because of Ethan pitting, and so as we also see this a lot of times. If one car in a DRS train pits, then the DRS train is broken, and that's exactly what has happened. He pitted, and then Hirsch and Noble are without a DRS now. However, the Alpine boys are still at it. No one is pitting, and Charles Leclerc might have a chance here to overtake at least one, if not both, the Alpines. He probably might go for both if Chips gives him way. He does, and it's a brilliant double overtake for the Haas driver as Charles Leclerc gets two positions
Sume.
for one, and he's up into P7. And Somer once again losing ground to Chips, who has
He
held
would
his
have his
nerve.
heart in his mouth. I mean, that could have been a catastrophe for Alpines. Somehow they managed. But yeah, I think so. There is this is the only battle where I think
Abhishek is
now
on the
it's a
back of
four-car
Ethan
battle.
now, so both have pitted for a set of hards. And Abhishek seems to have caught Ethan at the wrong time. I don't think
But
there's a
look at
real.
this. Look at this for P7 now. We have Charles, we have Chips, Tsume, and our own Mercurial Caesar, who has joined them in the party. So, Caesar, what do you reckon? Should he just go for an undercut and be there? Or you would want to make use of the DRS now that the tires are falling again?
I think an undercut could be the way to go, but there are three cars ahead, so it's possible that at least a couple of them might be coming into the pits. As we'll see here, actually no one comes to the pits, and Caesar stays out as well. So he's not interested in
Yeah, I mean,
pitting.
he should go to pits now next. No
And
matter
now
what
Abhishek did
happens.
overtake Ethan, but on the main straight, Ethan might be coming back at him. We'll see if Ethan can cover that much ground using his DRS. He seems to be closing a lot, but he might just run out of straight here. Yes, he will. And that is the position sealed for Abhishek for now, and I think he has the pace to start pulling away from the Aston Martin. I'm not sure if well, the hard tires will definitely last until the end of the race, but for these drivers who have gone a few laps early into the pits, I hope that they don't struggle towards the end of the race.
Yeah, they do, but I'm just like, so what do you reckon now? What should the medium guys do? I think there are top three, top four who are quite comfortable. They have the luxury of stretching it for at least couple of laps more. But I don't see a point of moving to hards. But then, I mean, you just stretch it a little bit more and just go on softs. Be
Yeah, I
aggressive.
mean, if they can go for, let's say, lap 20, they can go for the soft tires. So at least
Both
someone like
Vimal and Harsh
Redstone,
in
yeah,
the pits.
just as you say that. And a lot of drivers actually diving into the pits. Caesar stays out, but I see that Leclerc and Chips have pitted. And yeah, so they are definitely going on to the hards, and that will
And
take
Leclerc
them
gets a
until the
5.
end of the race.
Oh my
But
god.
someone like a Redstone or a VFX, if they have been gentle on their tires in the first
Oh, so many
stint,
times the 3.
they can probably extend it for rather until lap 20 and then pit for softs. But because they are not really under threat from anyone, they have good healthy gaps to the drivers
Yeah,
behind, and it's not really gonna matter if they finish with 1 second gap to the next driver or a 5 second gap. So as long as
right.
they are confident, I think they might want to go for those softs, because remember, there is an extra point if you get the fastest lap of the race, and that will count in the championship. Rest
Right.
on pits,
And
just as we say
pits.
that, and VFix stays out. So VFix has stayed out, and I think Jishnu has stayed. Oh no, Jishnu comes in. Sonic Hawk is way behind, and let's see if Caesar is gonna make any inroads to Sumer. Does he do the opposite? I think he might do that, or does he just follow Sumer into the pits? Sumer is pitting, Caesar stays out, so he does do the opposite. And this, oh,
Sume gets a 5
Sumer!
second. Sume has got a 5 second and 6 second track extension. Charles also has a 5 second. Sume has
Yeah,
a 5
so
second. Sorry.
yeah, so
Yeah, I
that
think
really undid all the hard work Sumer did in the first stint. That 5 second penalty is not gonna get removed, and yeah, I think Caesar
and
will
neither
comfortably
will
have the
those six
position.
seconds.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, I
I
think
mean,
Caesar has made up some ground. So now I could say he is not slow. He is quick. Um, but I think we have to see where does he come out. Where does he extend to lap 20? Lap 20 is the time where he could easily go on softs and then make on the moves. I think that is the only chance that he has to be on podium. And Vifix is going into the pits as we thought, but an overcut for a lap doesn't make sense in Imola. I mean, you gain a lot of time in undercut. That's one thing for sure. And he is going on a set of hard tires. So yeah, making on a lap fresher tires. But I'm not sure who is he fighting with. I think it's a no man land for Vifix as of now.
yeah, both
Uh,
VFX and Redstone not really fighting any car, let alone each other. And I think the same goes for Jishnu in
and
P3.
Caesar stays out. Caesar
Yeah,
stays out.
Caesar
I am
stays
not sure.
out,
Is he banking
and
for a safety car?
VFix has come behind Ethan in all this. So that's not gonna help VFix because Abhishek and Ethan are now ahead of him with a 5 lap difference in the tire life. So, and now these two will soon catch up to Caesar, who I think has made up his mind to go until a few more laps and then he can put on the softs. So Caesar, I don't think is gonna pit in the next lap or two. So that means it's gonna frustrate VFix even more because there will be
Yeah,
three
I
cars
mean,
ahead of him,
that's
and
right.
he
And it's a 24, 27 lap, no, no, 21, 22 laps. Sorry, not my bad. It's a 26 second
yeah.
pit window. So I think he should be right in P9, P10 once he comes out.
Yeah, so let's see when Caesar does actually pit. He's gonna get passed by Abhishek very quickly as Sumer gets another time penalty. Caesar is gonna stay out as expected, and I think right now both Ethan and Abhishek will fly past. Will VFX fly past? That is gonna be tricky as he does fly past VFX. So, oh, they're going to go side by side, and oh, that was
Ooh,
closer than
that
I
was
thought for a
hard
moment.
and fair racing. But yeah,
And VFix has made his way through. So very important for VFix to clear Caesar before the first sector gets completed. And Sonic and Leclerc are of course in positions behind. So that's puts Sonic in P9 for 2 points. Caesar is gonna continue on. VFX and oh, VFX has overtaken Ethan as well. He might have gotten a
Yeah.
brilliant run out of that hairpin.
But look
And
at that. I think after turn one to what, like turn uh, in 10. So in the next 9 turns, Caesar has lost like 2 seconds to this pack. So
yeah, his tires are really giving up. They've fallen off a cliff, and now he's being caught by Jishnu, who is probably gonna pass him without any further ado. There you go. Jishnu does not want to wait, and Jishnu is through on Caesar, and then next it will be
he should go to
Nobunaga.
pits
Let's see
now.
if V-Fix. I think it will be easy for him. He will get past Abhishek's
Yes,
and
he
retake his
comes.
P2. And considering the tire advantage which V-Fix has, Caesar in the pits, by the way, finally,
Yep,
he
finally.
will go on to the softs, I assume.
Who
As
is
these
going on
two.
hard tires?
No, Caesar.
Why would you want to do that, Caesar? You lose some 7-8 seconds only to put on hard tires. I'm not sure why we would have thought
I don't know
now
why he
it would
stayed
have.
out for this long. If end of the day he was gonna put a set
Yeah,
of hards,
he's gonna be overtaken by
but
Basil no, Basil will stay just behind. But P12 now, from the pack, he is almost 38, yeah, 40 seconds. Almost 40 seconds, 38, 39 seconds off the leading pack. So, not sure what will he do from here, but
and because
from the
he's on
leading
the
pack,
hard tires, I don't think.
he
Well,
can
Sumer
make.
has a time penalty, but he might have a tough time getting into the points at this rate. Because 8 seconds, 8.5 seconds off Sumer, and then there is Sumer himself and Chips to battle with, and Sumer will not make it easy for Caesar because he would be protecting his teammate. But in all that, Ethan is on a charge and he's gonna probably overtake Abhishek. No, I think he's gonna run out of straight there. So he's gonna stay put in P4 with Jishnu slowly but surely crawling up to these drivers.
Yeah, and also look at Sonic on the clock.
Sonic and Leclerc just exchanging positions lap after lap. This is a third lap in succession where these two drivers, one of which overtakes the other. Sonic Hawk.
And Sonic has been out of battery since last what 10,
Yeah,
11 laps.
yeah.
So
I think I've never seen him not blinking, but yeah, I think he does provide some good entertainment. Sonic here. Otherwise, because Imola has, and it's not a wet race, you don't really see a lot of DNFs, and that's exactly what has happened, except for one Pratham who also DNF'd himself in the
now
pits.
again for that P9, P8 now for the matter. Sonic, Charles, Chips, and Sume. It's very close, and that P3 is also spicing up with Jishnu joining the party. He has a advantage of 4 laps
Yeah, and Jishnu
on the
has
tires.
be, gotten himself into DRS. Here goes Ethan now. Abhishek leaves some room on his left, and Ethan obliges and he puts himself into the podium positions. The gap at front is almost 7 seconds, so not really surprised there in terms of the gap. So VFX solidifying himself in P2. But if these drivers, Suraj, by the way, Leclerc and Sonic Hawk once again just exchanging positions there, that Leclerc in P8 and then
And
the
Sonic
pair
light is
is
not blinking, and as we say, it is
oh,
blinking
it
now.
is
So
blinking and the pair is followed by Chips and Sumer. So yeah, as I was saying, if these drivers continue to DRS each other on the main straight, uh, then let's see if it gets them closer to VFX. Right now, it's not happening. They're in fact losing time to VFX. So because there's a lot of dirty air involved when you go through sector 2 and even the last couple of corners. So it's not helping their cause to battle this much. But I think right now the battle is just on for the last podium spot. I think P1 and P2, unless they make a mistake or unless there's a safety car, I think it's pretty much settled who's gonna be the race winner and who's gonna be P2. But here goes Abhishek and here goes Jishnu. Is it going to be double overtake? It just might be, as Jishnu has overtaken. Yes, he has both the cars. His Red light is flashing, but worth it, I would say. It's a double overtake by Jishnu that puts him on the podium, and now he will be the one to punch a hole into that air the next time they are on the main straight.
Yeah, and Sonic account Charles again, but I think this time they don't exchange positions. But I don't think this leading pack, Jishnu, I mean the leading podium pack, I would say. Jishnu, Abhishek, and Ethan making any inroads on Vifix. So I think again Vifix is just hanging there, enjoying the greenery of Italy. Uh, and those nice trees, and so does Redstone. Redstone, I mean, because of his pace, poor guy, and no battles, and nobody there enough to challenge him. He just always ends up having a lonely race, and we all, from the broadcast standpoint, never enough give the footage that he deserves during the race, of course.
Well, let's do that. Let's go. Let's see what he's up to. Well, we know what he's up to, but let's watch
Yeah, he's up
his
to, I mean, very
onboard
nice
race run
90.
lap. I'm in the sector 1, and despite what's happening behind, let's just go on board with him, give him the footage he deserves. But he could probably start from the back the next race as Leclerc and Sonic Hawk once again exchanging positions, but we don't care about that on this instance as we're on board with our race leader. And see the lines he's taking.
100% battery this guy has. 100% battery.
This is 0% AI for Redstone Dub. And look at how smooth his steering inputs are. And I'm sure I've been in a couple of party chats with him while he's driving, and his wheel really groans, and it's put through a lot of pressure during these races. And I sometimes feel that it's gonna come apart, but that's not the case anytime soon, as Redstone Dub finishes one more lap across around the circuit. But in all that, he has lost a second to VFix. So VFix
Yeah.
is it was 6.5 seconds a gap. Now it is 5.5. So last 2 or 3 laps, Redstone maybe he just wants to should probably drain some of his battery to keep that gap. He doesn't need to. I'm sure he has at least a couple of tenths in his locker that if the time comes or if called upon, he can unleash.
Look at the
But
control of the car. I mean, I mean, so smooth and wonderful control. I mean, the throttle is super smooth. He triggers it well. And yeah, I think a lot of pointers for all the guys who want to be quick. Do check
yeah,
out
but
the POVs of.
Sumer, I'm sorry to cut you off there. Sumer almost took Leclerc out in the process, and he has overtaken Leclerc for P9. So I think Leclerc did have a bad run through the first couple of corners, and the Alpine Reserve very quick to react to take P9. And look at Caesar as well. Caesar has finally is about to join this battle. Chips has been. Oh, Shooter is retired.
And not
This
in the
could be a
pits.
safety car.
Not in the
Where is
pits.
Shooter? It's not in the pits. Now he's in the pits.
Oh, he is. Now
But
he's in the pits. He's in the pits.
okay, he's in the pits now. But when he retired, it looked like it was probably
It
not in the
wasn't
pits.
right. Correct.
But either ways, VFX closing down the gap even more. 1.5 seconds since it last happened, and the battle for P3 is still on as Abhishek overtake Jishnu for P3. Sumer getting even more time penalties. What is it now? 17?
17 seconds, yeah.
Yep, 17 seconds for not Sumer. I think he's nearing disqualification at this rate. As Sumer and Sonic Hawk are battling, they're going side by side. I hope that they don't crash into each other. Sumer is doing everything he can to give us a good entertainment. While there are not a lot of battles happening for the race lead, but Sumer and the likes of Sonic and Chips and even Leclerc for that matter are keeping us entertained, and this is a good battle for the last few points because everyone else seems to have not really been in a battle with each other, especially in the second stint. I say that, Suraj, but Noble Garter is about to join the battle for P3. Oh, Sumer! This corner for him is such a nightmare. I was spectating him, And it even happened before the exit, which is where usually people spin. And he's lost all ground and all positions. He's not gonna score any points tonight at this rate. And what about Jishnu? Jishnu was very close to Abhishek on this occasion, but he does not take his P3 back. 6 laps to go after this one, Suraj, and I would like you to call out or predict our P3, P4, P5, and P6.
That's a tough one. But I would go ahead with yeah, I mean Mercedes. I mean, if not Ferrari, it's Mercedes. So I'll just stick with Abhishek for P3. He will hang up. He will hang on to P3, in my opinion. But yeah, Jishnu also is a force to reckon. So yeah, he can pop it
Yeah.
in P3. So yeah, it's gonna be either of these two. But I would want Abhishek to be there.
And with the rate at which VFX is closing on, now he can clearly see, I think, Redstone's car in the distance. The gap is just less than 4 seconds now. I think
Yeah, I
Redstone
mean,
still
Redstone
has
is
enough
just losing.
space.
Redstone would
What?
have heart on his mouth, and there was a lapped car. I mean, a car he was about to lap, and the car was just in the middle, and it wasn't ghosted.
Was it
So
Vicar Vicky or Baz? Or
it should be either one of them. But yeah, I think if it was, it was just there. The car wasn't ghosted. So yeah. But yeah, I think Reston is doing nothing but just managing his pace. I mean, Vifix is making inroads, but it is hardly a tenth or two. I mean, he needs more than that to have some realistic challenge. I mean, at least a second advantage that he needs to have Vifix, but he's not
yeah,
able
I
to do
think the
that. But
laps are running out for VFX. So if he has any more pace, now's the time to show it and give us a interesting end to this race. But as it stands, I think Redstone is still the favorite as Caesar and Leclerc are gonna battle it. So Caesar finally in the points, and now he's chasing Charles Leclerc. The tire difference is 4 laps between them as VFix takes out further 5 tenths from Redstone's gap. Now I don't know if Redstone is just making things interesting or if he has genuinely dropped his pace.
he's not pushing.
But yeah, I
He's
don't
not
think he's
pushing.
pushing. And where is Jishnu and all that? Jishnu once again very close to overtaking Abhishek, but he's just not able to do it, or maybe he's choosing
Yeah,
not to do
and a
it.
very similar battery position between Jishnu and Abhishek.
And Noble Carter has joined. Oh, Noble Carter almost running into the back of Ethan. But as I said, Noble Carter is joining the battle for P3 as Caesar overtakes Leclerc. So Caesar up into P9, and in fact he can get P8 as well because Sonic is a long way off, does not have any DRS protection. Noble Carter, by the way, less than 3 tenths behind Ethan, and I think the only thing that will frustrate Noble right now is that Ethan is not within DRS. So once he passes the Aston Martin, Noble Carter will have to work a little bit harder to get into the DRS of the people who are battling for the podium. The gap is just about 3 seconds, and now it might be less than 3 seconds. Yes, it is at the top. Just 3 laps to go after this one. Noble Carter gets a 3 second time penalty, and that's
That should
not gonna
be
help.
enough.
Yeah, that's not really gonna help. Is just no close enough? Well, it's
And
close,
Noble
but
making a move on Ethan, and he does that.
yep,
So now
Noble
Noble would
is
be wanting to
through.
stretch as
And
much
I
as
don't know which
he can.
car is it that has just come out of the pits. It is, I think it was Wicked Wiki. And well, I think if we had 5 to 6 more laps, this would have been an interesting end to the race. But I don't think VFX is gaining enough time on Redstone. It's still a very good fight back from VFX after losing the lead right at the start. Caesar back into P8. So McLaren's P7, P8, that's respectable considering Caesar was last on lap 1, Suraj.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, if not, I'm not sure. I mean, would be really, really interested in knowing why he went on Hearts. I mean, if not for Hearts, had a chance on at least joining this pack of Harsh, Ethan, Noble, and Jishnu, and
Well,
possibly,
we see so he's
possibly a
13.
goal.
Oh, Jishnu on Abhishek. Well, this Aston Martin, I mean, this Alpha Tauri of Wicked Wiki is not really helping the case, and I think it's just a bit of a distraction right now. Now, if he can't pull away, he's getting blue flags, and if he can't really pull away from this pack, he should concede the position. He's just come out of the pits and he's on a set of soft tires. So theoretically, he should be pulling away, and Jishnu would like it more than anything else because that would mean that Abhishek will not have DRS on the main straight.
Yeah, and but yeah, I think Wicket Wiki promising pace. I'm not sure what happened to him. Must be some incidents here and there, but I mean, in my opinion, he was one of the fastest, if not the fastest, in terms of points last season. But yeah, I think he surely, needs to make his mark in D1. But the pace that he has shown today, I'm pretty sure he would be gutted. But yeah, I think Wicket Wiki, we really want you back on the pace that you actually are in the next race. And as we speak, he is has the fastest lap, takes a point, but final
Well,
two
does
laps.
not really take a point. He's in P12, so
Oh
the
yeah, he
point.
does. He
But
does
he
not,
takes away the
right?
point from VFix, who had the fastest lap until that moment. So VFix will not score an additional point. And look at all that. Basil is getting involved in this battle, and Baz, really a race to forget for him, despite sweating like anything for this track.
But
And who is this? Is this shooter's
Vifix
new?
1.9.
Yeah, 1.9 is the gap, and I don't think it's gonna be enough redstone with that 100% battery. I don't think. But hello in the chat, as Jishnu has tried in the past few laps to get ahead of Abhishek and has failed.
But I think
And I,
Abhishek will get
yeah,
DRS
and I was
from
gonna say that
far ahead.
Abhishek will get DRS of Baz ahead. I'm not sure. I think he might just be, but he
That's
will
all he
definitely
needs.
get a toe if not DRS. So where have I seen this before? And here goes Abhishek on the main straight. Does he have DRS?
No, he
No,
does
he does
not.
not. He does not have DRS. Baz has
And
pulled
he's
away,
going, literally
but
putting all the battery he could. And so does Shishnu, but he just always tries to take a
so
look
Abhishek
at it, but
has
no.
put himself in the prime spot for that podium position. We have started the last lap. His teammate Redstone up 10 and a half seconds ahead has started the last lap. VFix did try to catch him, but it's not going to happen until it's not going to happen at all as Caesar and Sonic Hawk exchanging positions as Redstone gets a
Oh,
3 second.
that's...
Where did that come from?
Oh, no,
Now he will have to double
Redstone.
time it, and he's cutting more corners just to get built a 3 second gap. He is
Because
gonna
he can
dump
afford
everything. Yeah, he'll
few
have to
corners,
use
yeah.
up those couple of more warnings. And Redstone is now. Oh my god, this was not in the script, and I think he's just gonna win by a few tenths
Oh,
or
Vifix is
thousands.
just in
VFix is
there.
close.
Vifix is just in
VFix is
there.
close, and
And
VFix wins.
oh,
VFX has won the
that's
race
something.
at the end. 27,000 in all that. Abhishek rounds up the top three. Just two in P4. Noble will lose a position, I guess. Yes, to Ethan. Harsh and sees a good finish for McLaren in P7, P8. How did that happen? I did not see that coming. No one did see that
Oh,
coming. And Suraj, what
Redson.
this means is VFX is now the driver with the most race wins in IRL history. He overtakes Caesar in all that. And what a way to get it. He was closing in on Redstone. It was never was enough. But well, we might have thought it was futile, but it was not, because if he hadn't pushed for those last few laps, he would have never gotten that race win. What an end to the race. Redstone ended up getting a 3-second time penalty on the last lap. I don't know why he was pushing. Maybe he was going for the fastest lap, I'm not sure. But at what cost?
The
Redstone
cost
up.
of
He
seven
would be
points.
quite annoyed with himself.
Oh yeah, I mean I can't wait to talk to him. But he had everything. He was just. I mean, if there was a definition of throwing a race win away, would you label this?
Sorry, I didn't catch your question, Suraj.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he's there. Redstone. What a race, man! What a race!
I was
Care to
saving fuel for
explain?
the last 12 laps.
I mean, was it in the script that you had to do something? I mean, it was too more of a race for you where you had to do that, something like that.
Oh well, it's about, I think the bottling started from qualifying only. But yeah, I had the pace. It's just like it is what it is, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean, can't wait to have hear from the fix. But yeah, I think quickly if you can just run down Malav in your own style while we wait for the fix and Abhishek, that would be awesome.
Yep, so VFix does take that win, a historic win at one, considering that puts him at the top of the leaderboard for the most wins in IRL with the Mercedes boys in P2, P3. Jishnu finishing in P4 after that battle with Abhishek, and then Ethan and Noble Garter. Ethan, of course, started on those softs, so it's a good finish for him, followed by Noble Garter and the two McLaren boys on P7, P8, followed by Sonic Hawk and Charles Leclerc. Chips just missing out on points, but that was a very good battle between the three or four drivers. It was Sumer, Chips, Leclerc, and Sonic Hawk for the final end of the points. Wicked Wiki in P12, Basil in P13, and they've already had a few words to say to each other in the Discord channel, so I'm not sure what happened there. Sumer retired in the pits, and so did Shooter and Pratham. But all in all, a good race, a calm race until the last lap, I would say. But we did have a lot of battles in the midfield, and that did keep us entertained and on the edge of our seats. With all that, I think Abhishek has joined us as well. So we'll start with Abhishek. Abhishek, can you hear us?
Yes, Abhishek, can you hear us? And can you ensure that your party audio is on sharing?
I can't hear Abhishek. If you can, let me know. But
Yeah, I mean, I think Abhishek is
I'm
just
seeing
being
your
a little
model
bit
as well.
reserved. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, now I can, and I hope your audio sharing is on. But Abhishek, yeah, take us through the qualifying first of all, because your best lap time was on the mediums. You had to start in P10. So take us through the couple of runs which you did on those soft tires. I think the last run was when you invalidated. And what a good race start and really good battles with Ethan and Noble and VFix as well at one point. So if you can just summarize your past couple of hours.
Yeah, well, qualifying, I totally messed up. Put a banker just to feel the track on the mediums. I should have probably done three soft runs in hindsight, but it's fine. My first soft run was, I think, quick enough for pole. So was my second, but I invalidated both. So yeah, I knew I messed up big time there, but it's a 32 lap race, so I was just trying to get as high as I could, and yeah, restart wasn't really the best of restarts, but luckily I didn't get any damage and kept out of trouble. Had a small incident with Hush. I need to look at it again. But after the incident with Hush, yeah, I think I was hoping to still get P2 until then, but I knew I had to massively take a very aggressive undercut because I would just be stuck in the train otherwise. And yeah, the undercut definitely worked in my favor. But yeah, when VFX came by, I didn't really fight him because I knew it was no point. I'd just be hindering my own race. I was kind of fighting only for P3 at that point. But yeah, just try to keep it out of track, like try to keep it in track limits, not get a penalty. Congrats to VFX and Redstone. I don't know what happened in the last lap. I think Redstone got
I
a
mean, it
penalty in the end.
was it was
I think Redstone has
out
been
of the
talking to
books.
Srikanth way too much in the past few days, which has led to this. So Redstone, now
Yeah,
you, I
yeah,
think you
yeah,
will choose
yeah.
your friends more wisely. But Suraj, any questions for Abhishek before we
No,
actually
I
interview
mean,
Redstone?
fantastic race, Abhishek. I mean, I was rooting for you to be on the podium after the dismal qualifying. I'm sure the Mercedes team is the team to beat in constructors. And fantastic race, and hope to see you getting the race win very, very soon in this season.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and
All right.
yes, Mala Vifix is here, so
Yeah, I
I'm
can
not
hear
sure
the
where the
anthem
background
in the
music.
background. But we'll
I mean, it's
first
a
have a
celebration.
proper chat with Redstone. Redstone, I saw what you wrote on the channel. So was it just did you had you underfueled for the race? Is that why
No,
there was
not
a?
really, not really.
Then what were you
Maybe
saving the
by
fuel
like two
for? Are you an
clicks.
environmentalist all of a sudden?
Yeah,
Because
I'm all for climate justice, you know.
I mean, because if
But
you're driving
yeah,
at 100% battery, so Suraj did mention that we don't really give you footage considering you are on your own. So we did go through almost an entire lap with you. You didn't use any battery. You were at 100% ERS, and now you're saying you're saving fuel, and then you lose the race by 27 thousandths of a second. So, but yeah, just take us to qualifying because that was something which was a bit surprising. You didn't manage to improve on your time. What happened?
qualifying, firstly, congrats to VFX, well deserved win, put it on pole, yeah. And Abhi as well, like, I think he had an incident with someone and good recovery drive, so solid points for us. But yeah, going back to qualifying, I just couldn't hook it up. In the practice sessions, I was doing like 13 sixes all day, and it was no sweat, but I just couldn't hook up a lap together for some reason. Race, yeah, it was important to get a good start. And once I cleared B fix, I was just pulling away into the distance. I think there were like 6 seconds or something at one point. I was really flying, and then I was like, okay, you know what? After the pit stop, I thought I'll check the fuel, and it was like point 0.3 plus point 0.3, and I was pushing for a lap or two, and I saw it like go down by like 5.05 per lap. I was like, I'm not going to make it to the end if I keep pushing. So from that point, it was just a matter of lifting and coasting. I knew I had the gap, and then come the final lap, I had like 0.19, and I was like, you know what, 100% ER is left. Let's just push. I think I pushed too much. In the double right-hander going uphill, I just went a little wide. Got my third warning there, and I knew like I had to maximize that chicane. I fully sent it
Yeah,
there,
we
but
did
yeah,
see that on the stream. You obliterating that chicane and using up all the other warnings you might have had in the locker.
yeah. So
But
I tried that, but even in the previous laps, like when I was leading, I saw that Bfix was gaining on me in the final two corners compared to the rest of the lap. So I knew he would get me regardless. I knew like exiting the final corner, I was 3.02 seconds or something, and I knew at that point he was going to get it because I noticed that he was quite strong in the final two corners. But regardless, like I had a fun. It was a good race. Learned some fuel management along the way as well. But honestly, like well deserved win for VFX. Kudos to him.
yeah. Suraj, anything from your end?
No, I think I just want your thoughts. I mean, Redson, you either have a pole or you are in the top two. You start, you take the lead, and then you race on your own. So what does it go in your mind? I mean, for most of the races where you are leading and you are in almost no man's land and you are
Actually,
on your own.
this was a difficult race, Suresh. Like comparing, considering the fact that I was running out of fuel, it was like I had to really think about where I'm lifting and coasting, managing pace, trying to maximize exits. And the final lap, like I said, I just wanted to all out see how much I can gain on VPX. But yeah, I think that sort of bit me in the ass quite a fair bit. But regardless, it was a good race. I was just doing my own thing. I was in sort of in a flow state, at least the first stint. Yep, that's
Yeah, I
about it
think
for me.
I'm not sure what should I tell you. Is it hard luck, tough luck,
It's not hard luck.
or
I've been there, learning from Shrikant, I guess.
Yeah, learning
but
the wrong things from the
nonetheless,
wrong person.
you did
But
not give much of action for the entirety of the race, but you did make up
I
in the
delivered.
final half a sector. But yeah, I think all the best for the next race and the season. Looking forward for a hat trick of a win. So a good race, a good dominating race until the last half sector.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to our race winner. Vifix, I don't know when you want to play the anthem, so I'll let you choose your timing. But congratulations, now you are the leading race winner as far as that is concerned, with I think 30 wins, if I recall correctly, and if Caesar has not messed up his counting and math. But what a race we fixed. The start wasn't the best. You lost a couple of positions, had to battle it out in the first stint, and then the second stint, especially the second half of the second stint, once you cleared Abhishek and Jishnu and the rest, you were gaining on Redstone. So take us through your race, the second stint, and how did you approach the last lap or the last couple of sectors once you knew that Redstone has a 3 second time penalty? How many warnings did you had left? Did you have left in your locker?
I had one. I
Oh, you had
made a
one as well.
I
So if
made
you
that
had
same
pushed, then
mistake that he did on the previous lap. Yeah, but coming to it, my first dry pole in I think 3 seasons. So yeah, I think my last one was also at Imola. So I mean I
well, sucks
don't
to
know,
be bad.
something special about this track. Um, But yeah, I think the medium stint. First of all, the race start. I like a noob somehow upshifted to third, like right at the beginning. So I'm surprised it was only P2 bad. Any other track I would have been seventh. But yeah, after that I was trying to keep up with Redstone, but the tire was just not turning on that medium. So I was just consolidating P2, defending it from Jishnu. Then Jishnu made an error, so then we were just kind of stuck in this limbo. Um, and then after that, I also had no fuel. By the way, I was on 0.05 laps. But my logic with this game is that this game is so stupid and unrealistic that if I short shift, it is going to save me like zero point 0.1 of fuel, and I'm like I'm 6 seconds behind him. So I might as well go into low fuel mode at the end. There's nobody behind me. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, we're still gonna finish P2 minimum because low fuel mode is so easy on this game that I will lose maximum 4 seconds per lap on the guys behind. So the game being so unrealistic gave me the confidence to just keep pushing, uh, even at the end. And I thought like it was going to be a valiant effort because I overturned like 6 seconds in a stint. But of course, at the end, he got that 3 seconds. And after that, I was just trying not to cut Dosa or spin out there like Claire did. Um, Unlike Leclerc, I am somebody who can get it done on Sundays as well. So it was, yeah, it feels good. Finally, everything in the Hall of Fame, number one, first to 30 as well. Suck it, Caesar. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's 100%
that,
completion if there ever was one in IRL.
yeah, yeah, and the gap was at 1.24 wins to sixth to Caesar. So, that is a greater comeback than five Ballon d'Ors to 5 to 5 to 8 to 5. I would say. But yeah, felt good. Uh, Hard tires, especially, I was almost considering. I was actually kind of bad mouthing my, admittedly, very sleepy race engineer for giving me only zero point 0.8 laps of fuel because I was certain that if I had 1.4, I would have just been had the confidence to just go for Redstone anyway. But even I had to do some short shifting in like the last like 4 laps because I was like, now we're getting like really close to it. It's like a 20% possibility. So I also have to start short shifting now just in case I
Okay, so
don't
that
go in full
explains why
mode
you
in
stopped gaining on
DRS.
Redstone, because I think you got the gap down to about 2 seconds or just less than that, and then it remained there. So I assume probably that's the reason
Yeah,
why.
but I went into 0.05 laps, and what happens on this game is that on the last lap, if you have less than zero point 0.1, then at any random point you can go into low fuel mode.
Right.
So
Well done,
yeah,
EA and
then it's
Codemasters.
just RNG, and
Suraj,
I
any
was trying to play
questions
against
for
RNG.
VFX?
Questions, no. But I think Vifix, what? turned out to be a lonely race for you. Turned out to be a banger in last half a sector. I'm sure you were trying to give everything over there. So well deserved win and well managed race, I would say. And looking forward for a titanic battle between you and Riston and Abhishek's up ahead.
Yeah. Unless it's a side foot glitch. But yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah, congrats to the Mercs boys as well on the Constructors Championship. I'm sure that it's. I mean, let's be honest here. There's no like this much consistency in podiums. They're pretty much wrapped up constructors already. Um, unless something drastic happens and URL Basel actually starts taking out people up in the field, you know. But yeah, enough for the guy who has a black mark on his name. We all have clean checks, clean bill of checks here on the podium. So yeah, and Malav, I hope you like the anthem.
All right, we'll leave it up to there. We'll see you next week in Monaco. Thank God I'm not racing or commentating, but I hope someone will
Neither
fill
do
in my
I.
shoes. And well, I'm traveling. That's why.
Whichever country Malav's going to beware.
I'm not traveling to a different country. But that being said, thank you everyone for joining in. We'll see you next week. We fix all yours with the anthem, and then I'll end the stream. And thank you, Suraj, for joining me in the comms box, despite you were initially hesitant to do so. And congratulations to the Mug boys as well.
All right, so
See ya. All right. Anyways, boys, fun racing. Um,
Nostalgia.
what happened in qualifying, Abhi?
I in